Okay, in this video, I'm going over Trump's announcement that the UFC is going to have an event at the White House at some point in 2026, which is a crazy venue to hold a UFC event. And the logistics of it don't really make a lot of sense, but it has a very big opportunity to have some crazy fights and be a huge pay per view, possibly a success for the UFC in general, but it's tricky. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Conor McGregor talking about it. He's open to returning for this fight on the fucking White House lawn, which is kind of funny and I would like to see, to be honest. We have John Jones also talking about it, which is the complete opposite. I think this is stupid. I think John Jones is a huge pussy. But we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about Justin Gaethje versus Patty Pimblett, which is hinted at, and then Roses Jr. versus Rob Font to cap it off for no real reason at all. Otherwise, besides that, I just want to talk about it. So, Trump has announced a title fight on the White House lawn, basically. Outdoor, this has a lot of implications. Are they going to build an arena on the White House lawn? Are they going to do it outside? Because Dana White has come out and publicly said that he does not want to do any events outside. If there's too many variables, there's weather, there's sunlight affecting the fighters, there's bugs and shit, there's too many factors that they can't control when doing an event outside. So this would go in stark contrast to that, unless they're willing to build an enclosed arena on the White House lawn, which I don't know how big the White House lawn is, but if it's that big, then why not? That'd be kind of cool, actually. The whole idea of this happening is a big spectacle. A lot of people are going to be down for it. I'm honestly down for it. It's a big thing. It's going to have a lot of eyes on it. And especially if we get the right fights, it can be a huge event. If we get a McGregor on this card, or even a John Jones, even though I think it would be dumb, just because of what John Jones's career has looked like and what John Jones has been doing for the past 2 years and what he plans to do, I think that would be a lot lamer. Same with Conor, I guess, with what he's been doing for the past couple of years. But this card has the potential to be really fun. America versus other countries, every single country. We could do that. We could do, since they are hinting it might be on Independence Day, we could do America versus Britain. We can get back to our roots with that. That would be super interesting, a big spectacle. That would make sense to have John Jones versus Aspinall, the fucking heavyweight belt, on that card. That would make a lot of sense. But overall, it's just interesting that we're talking about this. Last year was the Sphere. I guess next year will be the White House. But that's a long ways away. So we can't really predict what fights can be on this card unless they want to keep John Jones Aspinall for another year. And Conor McGregor, I guess we can get into that next. So Conor McGregor is intrigued by this. He wants to come back and fight on this card. And he's went to Twitter yapping about it, where he says he wants to become the reigning supreme leader of Ireland and then fight in the White House against Michael Chandler. He called out Michael Chandler again. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's logically, it doesn't make any sense, really. It makes sense to have Chandler on the fucking White House card, I guess, but first off, McGregor becoming the president of Ireland or the king of Ireland or whatever, doesn't make any sense. I don't think it's possible. I don't think they can hold a democratic election and have McGregor become president. I don't think it's with their political system. I don't think it works unless they're fucking changing it or something. But it would be really funny if this was the case. If McGregor became president and then fought at the White House against Chandler and knocked him out cold, it'd be a crazy storyline that I would actually really like to see. To be honest, that'd be a fucking spectacle. I would love to see that. But the fact that this White House announcement it's big. It's so big that it's bringing back superstars that have retired officially to come back and be like, oh shit, I want to fight on the fucking White House card. That's a big deal. I might come back to do that. It's enticing a lot of these stars to come back, and I bet it's going to entice a lot of stars to stick around to try to be on that card. It's a big deal. Maybe not internationally, but in America and in the circle of MMA fans, it's a big deal. A lot of people like Trump. A lot of people like the America, me included. I like America. So it's a big deal. I think it'd be cool. But yeah, Conor McGregor wants on it. I say, let him on it. Fuck it. It'd be funny. We also have John Jones going back into the testing pool 2 weeks after retiring officially and saying that it feels nice to be the hunter and not the hunted for once. So apparently, John Jones retired, vacated his UFC heavyweight belt just so he could come back and be a contender in the heavyweight division and maybe fight Tom Aspinall for the belt after that, or get another big fight against like a Pereira or an Ngannou. I don't understand this move from John Jones whatsoever. He says he's keeping his options open, but to me, it just seems like a bunch of weird, manipulative, pussy bullshit, and I hate him. He ruined the biggest fight in UFC history, and for him to be still curious about it just pisses me off. Either leave and never, I don't want to hear you talk ever again or see your face ever again, or fight Aspinall. If you beat him, I still don't like you very much, but that's big, and I would have to recognize you as a fucking you beat Tom Aspinall, the guy who I think would destroy you. You're the real deal at that point, considering he's not doing steroids, which well, I mean he's back in the testing pool, so that's now nixed. So he can't go on steroids and come back. So he has to fight legally without using steroids because he's back in the testing pool. He has also hinted that he wants on the White House card. Him versus Aspinall on the White House card would be monumental. A year from now, is Tom Aspinall going to be champ? Is John Jones going to be a year from now wanting to be in the UFC? This is all just yapping at this point to me on Twitter in general. It's too far away. These fighters are just, I don't know. It's not much sense to be like, I'm going to be on this card. I really want to be on this card. There's too much time. There's too much. It's probably not even going to happen realistically. With the way Dana White likes to nitpick about venues, it's going to be hard to pull off. They've pulled off weird shit before. It's going to be weird to pull off. If anybody can do it, it's Dana. But realistically, I don't see this happening. I don't see it going through. The Sphere had the infrastructure and was in that, even still, that was like a huge loss and costed them a ton of money that they never gained back. I'm pretty sure the White House guards they can't go to Africa, they can't go to Spain, they can't go to all these places because of the infrastructure and how weird it is to get a stadium or all of that or politics or whatever. Putting an event at the White House, even like security risk wise, is there's too much involved. I don't think it's going to be done. But if it is, I want a ton. I want a Sean Strickland. I want a Sean O'Malley. I want a Conor McGregor Chandler as the co-main to a John Jones Aspinall. If it's a perfect world, we go all out and then we just do that and everybody's happy. But I don't see that happening. I don't see the White House card actually going through and actually succeeding or even happening at all. I see John Jones not fighting ever again. I see Conor McGregor maybe fighting again, but I doubt it. So overall, this is a bunch, to me at least, a bunch of very bright thoughts, a lot of imagination that won't come to fruition, I don't think. But at least they're trying to make fun shit, cool shit happen. The UFC hasn't been trying very hard with that department lately. So maybe they could do something fun with that. It's still a year away. We still have to focus on this year, Dana, which he's not doing at all and making everything garbage. I'm going to make a video about UFC 318. I think it's the worst pay-per-view ever. But yeah, now we have some matchups to talk about. We have Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, which has been hinted at by Dricus du Plessis on not even an interview. He was just getting videotaped by his friend or some shit, and he said that Gaethje versus Pimblett was announced. He didn't say for which pay-per-view. He didn't say for 319. He didn't say for any other pay-per-view. Judging about how Pimblett looked a week ago when he faced off with Topuria, I don't see Pimblett being ready for UFC 319. So, more likely, it's 320, 321, Pimblett versus Gaethje. I like this fight a lot. It's the fight that I need to make. It makes a ton of sense. Fuck Arman Sarukian. He's turned down so many fights. He pulled out with a back injury that turned out to be him missing weight. Fuck Arman. I don't care if he's a rifle contender at this point. I don't care. He beat Beneil Dariush and Oliveira barely. And now we have Patty, who's a big star, and Gaethje, who's coming off a win against Rafael Fiziev. So really, one of them needs another win, obviously. But I'm glad it's these two. I'm glad Arman Sarukian's out. I don't care. This is way more interesting. And for Topuria, his next defense, it's way more interesting to be one of these two. I want it to be Patty, and I think it's going to be Patty if this fight goes through, unless they do Topuria versus Arman Sarukian just right out the gate, which is possible as well. They could just make that. They could just make Topuria versus Arman next, which is okay. It makes sense. If they're just going to do that, if they need a contender for Topuria quick, Arman is the right guy. But hopefully they hold out. Hopefully they give Arman another fight too. And hopefully the winner of these two fights Topuria for the belt. I think it's going to be Pimblett. I think Pimblett beats Gaethje at this point. Similarly to how he beat Chandler, I think he's going to overwhelm him a little bit with his size. I think he's going to place his shots well. I think he's going to get takedowns when he needs to. He's going to make it grueling in the grappling. He's going to take the punishment Gaethje has to offer at this point in Gaethje's career. He doesn't have the thunder to knock out the Scouse or whatever, because Scousers don't get knocked out. It'll be really funny one day when Paddy Pimblett's dead on the canvas, and then all we can hear is people saying Scousers did, him saying Scousers don't get knocked out, with him dead on the canvas. That's going to be a fun day, probably when he fights Topuria for the belt. But for this matchup, I'm taking Pimblett. I'm taking him to out-grapple Gaethje. Gaethje's old now. He's weathered more than ever. And I think Patty has the durability to take what Gaethje has and deliver a better output, a better, rangier, bigger game than Gaethje has to offer. He's just going to pressure him, and he's going to take him down, and he's going to put strikes on him, and he's going to be weird. He's going to be quirky in there, and Gaethje is, he's good at it. He's very good. I'm done discounting Gaethje. I think Pimblett's real. I think he's going to beat Gaethje. And to be honest, I think Pimblett is the scariest guy for Topuria, in my opinion, just because of his size and the quirkiness with how he fights. I still think Topuria destroys him because of how sloppy Pimblett is on the feet. Some of the punches he was throwing against Chandler were stupid as fuck, and I could see Topuria just shitting him bad. But Gaethje, to me, doesn't have the power in his hands or the technicality to beat Pimblett with as much momentum as Pimblett has. At the end of the day, Gaethje beat Fiziev, and then lost the last two in his past 4 fights. Beat Fiziev, lost to Holloway, beat Fiziev. It's not super impressive to me, to be honest. Neither is Pimblett's run, really, but I trust his youth and momentum a lot more. Next, we have Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr. So they're giving. So is this hinted at, or is this? Oh, it's set. Okay, this is set. Raul Rosas versus Rob Font. Is Raul Rosas Jr. ready for the Rob Font test? Bald Rob Font is least aura Rob Font, I will say, but is Rosas ready for the Rob Font test? Rob Font is notorious for being the gatekeeper of bantamweight. He's the guy you have to beat to be considered good at all in the division. And I think Rosas Jr. is going to get stopped in his tracks by Rob Font. I think Rob Font has the experience. He has the ability. He's very solid overall. I'm pretty sure he's coming off of either a robbery win or he either won barely or lost barely. Very close, no matter which way it went. I'm pretty sure he lost barely or won barely. And it was a robbery or some shit. But Rosas is also coming off a win. I just don't think Rosas is going to have the experience. To be honest, I think he's still underskilled. Christian Rodriguez beat the shit out of him. And that was a while ago. But Rob Font is a big jump up in competition, especially from those guys and the people he's beating. He's had close fights with pretty ass fighters. Even on the Sphere card, he had a really close fight which did not impress me and doesn't make me think he's going to go in there against Rob Font, the fucking gatekeeping god of the UFC, and beat him clearly enough to beat him by unanimous decision or anything like that. He could squeak out a decision by split, maybe. I just don't see it being likely. I see Rob Font scrambling out of Roses' grappling, to be honest. I'd see Rob Font being way more technical on the feet. I just think Rob Font's better. He has the experience. He's been in these positions before against guys coming up. It's his whole job is to beat people coming up. He's good at it. I think he's going to do it. I don't think Roses Jr. is a crazy good prospect. He's funny. He's chee-wee-wees. It's funny as shit to talk about and to hear him say it. And if he keeps, and he's ugly, and it's funny. And if he keeps winning, I'll keep listening and being entertained by his goofiness. But sadly, I think he's going to be a little bit below Rob Font level for the rest of his career. Maybe not for the rest of his career. He is really young. He's really young. But I think Rob Font's going to beat him at this point. So, those are my thoughts on the White House thing in these matchups. Let me know what you think. I will see you soon.